Hey, Sunny's back. I know it's been a while. Life has just been lifing. Today, we are going to be discussing 5 things you should consider before opening up your daycare so that you can be prepared. All right, here we go. Number 1, information. You will forever be a student of life, but it's very imperative that you have all of the necessary information that you need to proceed with opening up your home daycare or your childcare facility. Based on wherever state that you live, you'll be able to go to either the education website or the human services website or either site that's along those natures and figure out the actual application process that you will have to go through to be licensed, accredited, or registered with the state. Okay, so once you have all of that information, that will be your blueprint of exactly what you need to get started. So whether it's training, whether it's certifications based on your training, permits, medical evaluations, it will tell you everything that you need to get started. So it's very important that you're just aware of that information so that you don't start the process and then there's one particular point that's holding you back from furthering your next step, okay? Number 2, figure out what is going to be the foundation of your program. Figure out what your foundation of your curriculum is going to be. Are you going to try to become accredited to be a specific type of program such as Montessori? Are you going to be focused on play-based, or are you going to just take a keen focus in academics? Or are you just going to see what kind of children your program attracts and then kind of build a foundation and a curriculum based on the best needs and what's appropriate for those children that you have enrolled for your program? So that's really, really, really important because that takes a toll on how you facilitate your lesson plans, in addition to what equipment or learning materials you'll need to support your curriculum. All right. Number 3, before you start your daycare, figure out some of the things that make you happy. You personally happy, not anything that involves your children, your husband, your significant other, your family, no one else. But what specifically feeds your soul so that when you close that door at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on a Friday, what is something that you can look forward to woosah? Even if your days aren't stressful, there's still lengthy days that require a lot of physical agility from your body. So it's very important that you have balance in order to facilitate you kind of relaxing yourself mentally and emotionally, okay? 4, how are you going to market your daycare so that you can have enrollment? Have you considered going to your local public schools? Have you considered flyers for the neighborhood? Have you considered a website? What is your marketing strategy to put your daycare out there so that your community is aware that there's a new program in town? That is something that you really have to consider, because you can have a beautiful program sitting idle because you don't have parents who are aware that you even exist. I guarantee you, once you have created a marketing strategy, you will be able to obtain enrollment. It may not happen overnight, it may not happen in 30 days, but once you have your marketing strategies in place and they are consistent and they are beneficial to your program, you should have enrollment. You should have families inquiring, if not every day, at least every other day. You want to make sure that you have a business line. This is really more so for my family daycare providers, that you have a business line so that you can separate that personal life from your business life. And also something that you want to consider, in addition to figuring out the foundation of the curriculum, is figuring out your space and exactly what works. So if you are starting, or if you are creating a family daycare, which means you're having a daycare in your home, a residence, and you're only using the living room, meaning one big space, right? Maybe it could be separated by a wall, so you have two rooms. Maybe it's connected to a dining room. Whatever the configuration of your layout of the home is, you need to make sure that you are utilizing every inch of your space so that you can maximize the use of your space. So sometimes in an instance, you may not have a technically big space, but you may have a small room, maybe a large bedroom size. How are you going to create a layout where children are able to have free space to roam around? How are you going to create a layout where children are able to sit at tables? And also to consider, where are your children napping? You might have cots. Cots take up a lot of space. You might have those soft foam mats. Those don't necessarily take up a lot of space, but just understanding that you're going to need to maximize your space. And if you have big, sturdy equipment, you're going to want to make sure that it's anchored to the wall. And if something is anchored to the wall, that means that it's not moving. So you just have to take into account what kind of things you would like to create in your space: tables, cubbies, creative arts and crafts tables. What I recommend is, I know some people don't agree, but I love floating shelves. I love mounting things to the wall because one, I don't have to worry about moving it. Two, it clears up floor space. And three, it it gives you vertical storage. So you don't have to worry about, oh, if I put something on the floor or if I'm stacking it up in the closet. Go ahead and put a nice little floating shelf at the top of your wall, and it's also out of children's reach. So those are my 5 considerations of things that you need to consider before opening up your daycare. Stay tuned for part 2, where I present to you another 5 considerations for opening up your daycare. All right, thanks.